In a region called Opelucid, which is like Hisui and Legends Arceus except based on Unova and in the future, many Pokemon have had to adapt to new environments and take on new forms. Fairy types don't live on Opelucid anymore, but they used to. In order to eradicate them, Team Plasma gave many Pokemon the tools to beat fairies. One of those Pokemon was Scraggy, which was very weak to fairy types when they were around. It was given a steel nail, which it used to brutally pop the Jigglypuff on the route it lived. Since fairies disappeared, Scraggy has continued to evolve, favoring the dragon type like so many other Pokemon. Because its arms are small and weak, it primarily uses its head to attack. So to use its nail most efficiently, its neck grew out for specialized long-range attacks. It has slots to store nails in its shed skin, which double as a way to protect its belly. Here's the final art. Scraggy is a dragon fighting type Pokemon with the abilities Shed Skin, Steel Worker, and hidden ability Long Reach. It learns lots of steel type moves, and its Iron Head attack in particular is infamously brutal. This Pokemon doesn't get around quickly, but don't be fooled. Its neck moves fast and it can throw its nails far and fast. It's an unpredictable Pokemon, making it one of the most dangerous. Even trainers have been gored by their own Scraggy, whether on purpose because it didn't get what it wanted or on accident, simply because Scraggy was excited. No deaths have been recorded to be caused by caught Scraggy, but wild ones kill about 6 people a year. Competitively, Scraggy has a pretty nasty Dragon Dance, though it's slow enough that even in Little Cup it has to be used twice for any hope of outspeeding opponents. Steelworker goes pretty hard in a meta with Terra, but even without that, it would be nice to get the jump on fairies if you can outspeed them. Of course, fairies don't exist on Opelucid, so Steelworker is largely useless when you can smack ice and rock types with close combat. Shedskin and Longreach have individually good uses, but I think most people would end up with Shedskin to unstatus your Scraggy. Despite how dangerous Scraggy is, it's not exactly a strong Pokemon, and most trainers who are interested in raising Scraggy aren't interested in weak Pokemon. They harshly train it till it evolves into a more valuable Pokemon called Scrafty. Scrafty has evolved in favor of ranged combat, which depends on its very derived lower jaw. Scrafty swallows nails and other sharp pieces of metal, which it stores in a specialized sac. When it's ready to attack, the nail comes out of its throat, guided by its long flexible tongue. It uses this tongue to attach the nail to a tough string derived from its lip, pulls on it, and lets it fly like a bow and arrow. While Scrafty's power output can potentially be insanely high, its accuracy is low. When Scraggy reaches level 39, it evolves into Scrafty. Scrafty is a Dragon Dark type Pokemon with the abilities Shedskin, Steelworker, and hidden ability Ranged Combat. This signature ability allows the Pokemon to never make contact with its targets, and reduces damage from opposing contact attacks by 0.75 times. Scrafty also gets a signature move called Nail Puncture, which is a Steel-type physical attack with decent base power and +1 priority, but lowish accuracy. Lastly, Scrafty's critical hits deal double damage if it holds a scope lens. Many hunters use that last trick to get their kills efficiently, though they still have to worry about the low accuracy. They feed Scrafty only the best nails, though it may still find a rusty one every once in a while and eat it anyway. Many people joke that all Scraggy's evolutionary power went to its head and neck, leaving its legs and tail looking quite underdeveloped. However, its body is so top-heavy because most of its energy is going into the muscles in its neck and jaw to strengthen the projectiles. Maybe one day it'll figure out how to evolve again so it can have a more balanced looking body. This time, Steelworker is a much more useful ability, mostly thanks to the cool new Steel move, though close combat is just as strong and more generally effective. I think I'd run Swords Dance with Nail Puncture for the priority, and I'd just pray to God that I land every time. The signature ability is probably better though, since it's nice to resist most physical attacks. On top of that, you don't have to worry about Rocky Helmet or any contact abilities getting in your way. Scrafty would totally get outclassed in higher tiers, but it might do well in lower ones, especially if Eviolites really do work. There's a Pokemon in the Relic Desert that's known as the Guiding Light. It's rumored to lead people to treasure, but it's more likely that it either leads people away to become its lunch, or that it doesn't have a concept of leading people anywhere at all. It's quite a beautiful Pokemon, and many trainers like to keep it for its aesthetic. They're really not a dangerous Pokemon and often let loose in cities for natural lighting. It's not recommended that they're left indoors though, not just for the fire hazard, but also because these Pokemon have a lot of energy and need room to run around. Here's the final art. Petilil is a grass fire type Pokemon with the abilities Flash Fire, Own Tempo, and hidden ability Illuminate. These are its notable moves. It can use quite the harsh Flame Burst. When Petilil is excited, like during battle, it'll float slightly and spew fire. Its Quiver Dance can make it surprisingly strong when it does this. Competitively, Petilil wouldn't be that great. As nice as Quiver Dance is with that 90 base special attack, all of its other stats hurt dog water, and even if it survived an attack, it likely wouldn't outspeed anything after a QD. Petilil hits hard, but it doesn't really do anything else. It also can't hit dragons without a resisted attack, unless it has Pollen Puff, so this Pokemon would especially suck in the Apollucid meta. With access to a rare stone, Petilil can evolve again. It becomes encompassed in flame and a flower on its head grows immensely. It's said to be a reincarnation of a god that replaced the sun in ancient times, though that god looked more moth-like in the cave art. Regardless, the light this Pokemon emits is intense and can easily illuminate a radius of 20 meters. Interestingly, it has a hard time seeing anything with all that fire in the way, and depends on Petilil around it to see for it. In return, it provides protection and a safe place for any Pokemon that appreciates the light. So when Petilil reacts to a Sunstone, it evolves into Lilligant. Lilligant is a grass fire type Pokemon with the abilities Flash Fire, Own Tempo, and hidden ability Drought. It doesn't learn a whole lot of extra moves, but its Solar Beam is fierce and its Hyper Beam is extremely destructive. While Lilligant can be a symbol of life, it represents death just the same. The healing power of grass contrasts the destructiveness of fire with a Pokemon that is both beautiful and terrifying. More of one than the other depending on who you are. It protects its family and friends, but rival Lilligant and anyone trying to attack its group get a Fire Blast and a Hyper Beam their way. It has a burning rivalry with Meganium, and both are responsible for making the Relic Desert both a dry wasteland and a lush oasis. Lilligant is only owned by strong trainers who believe it can evolve again. Despite their tests, all they found is that it reacts to an Eviolite. With all the power and money behind their research, it's surprising that no one has evolved a Lilligant quite yet. Competitively, Drought gives it a nice niche, though it doesn't have the utility of something like Torkoal. It would aim for offense in its Solar Beams and Sunblucid Fire Blast. It has super low bulk, but great special attack and usable enough speed. I don't think it would be OU, especially because it still suffers with the Dragon Resist problem, but it wouldn't be bad at all. It really punishes steals trying to cash in on the abundance of dragons. Numel was thought to have gone extinct in Apollucid. It couldn't compete with the other ground types and died faster than it did, well, anything else. But in the deepest area of Reversal Mountain, 2 Numel were found dormant in a pool of lava. When they were extracted, one awakened and immediately was recognizable as a new form of Numel. Here's the final art. Numel's awakened form is a fire ground type Pokemon with the ability Inner Focus. It learns mostly the same moves as the form we know, but instead of moves like Amnesia and Yawn, it learns Calm Mind and Psychic. Its stats are the same as the Numel we know, and while most of its biology is the same, its brain seems to be orders of magnitude more active. It has the curiosity of a human child, and it seems to be in touch with its emotions. The Numel it was found with still hasn't awakened, and it seems to feel sad about this. It's difficult to say how much Numel knows about its companion's situation, or if it knows how to awaken it. For now, Numel isn't a battler, but maybe in the future it'll begin to level up and be used in competitive. That's all I got for this video. Check out my Patreon where you can subscribe for $1 a month to support me, get your name at the end of my videos, and get access to some silly, non-scripted content. I'm working on making stuff with a bit more substance, but that'll have to wait till the summer. Thanks Captain Copop and Art of Dying for supporting even before I had extra stuff. My next Pokemon video will be about totally new Pokemon that have nothing to do with old ones at all. I know those don't usually get as many views, but it's really fun to make new Pokemon. And maybe I'll use the designs for Origin somehow like I did with Scrungler. Okay, thanks for watching, bye!